The Hustler Raptor 42-inch zero-turn mower. Is it the right mower for my business? Do you have the right ride-on mower for your business? Do you stay with the same brands over these years? G'day viewers, Jeff McPhee's Gardening, Melbourne, Australia. Today I'm going to show you my new Hustler Raptor 42-inch zero-turn that I've just purchased. I've still got my old Hustler, but I thought it was time to upgrade after 15 years. I've had ride-on mowers for nearly 4 decades, ranging from tractor type to zero turns. So today's video, we're going to give you a run around of what I think of the Hustler, and does it really suit my business? We'll discuss that later on in the video. When I first started, I had the tractor type mowers. Zero turns weren't really a thing back in the 80s, but they served their purpose. Up until about 15 years ago, I've always had Australian made ride-on mowers, only small 30-inch, 42-inch at the maximum. And then I purchased my first zero-turn from Hustler 15, 16 years ago. Back then, I paid about the same amount as I paid for the one I bought today. So you can expect the quality of build over those years to decrease for the people to make money. But back in the day, that Hustler, which still goes now, the Hustler Sports 48-inch, is still going, and it's back up the farm now. But it's still serving its purpose. It's a strong mower, as is the Hustler 42-inch Raptor, and I'll show you around in a second. So here we have it, the 42-inch Hustler, the XD zero-turn mower. Really well built. I'll start with the deck. The deck is a fabricated deck. It's really strong. Now, when you're purchasing a ride-on mower, it's important to have a fabricated deck. Now, the pressed deck are a lot thinner, and if you hit something, it's really going to do some damage. But this deck here, as you see, it is quite solid. It's really take a hit. And I remember on the other one, I hit quite a few things, and you know, you say, yes, I'll take my time, I'll be careful, but it never works that way. So when considering a deck, when you're considering a zero turn, make sure you get the fabricated deck. Because it's a 42-inch, it's just got the scalp wheels on the side. The bigger ones, they'll have a scalp wheel in the middle. Probably wouldn't have hurt if they could just had one of those on. That would have been quite good, actually. So moving towards the front tyres, as you see, they're quite large, quite balloon, really good. Love the rear tyres. Look at the chunky. Really grabs in the on the hilly climates, because zero turns are really dangerous on hills. So you can see really chunky tyres. Really impressed. Of course, you've got to be careful when you do the 3-point turns. Don't do a zero turn, so you'll screw up the grass. Always do a 3-point turn, as you should always with a zero turn. Moving to the height deck. What I love about these with Hustler, what they do is the deck height. It's just a matter of pushing down on the lever and then just adjusting. The increments go from, I would have liked a bit low. It's 1.5 inches up to the 5 inches. But it's quite easy just to adjust whichever one you want. It's all labelled here, as you see, and it makes it much easier. So height adjuster. The only thing I would have liked to do, like on the other one, once you set your pin, it stays there, and then if you want to bring the deck right up, it locks in. But this one you're not. You have to actually put it back to the top there, so that's all right. Handlebars are quite easy to use. Love the systems of the zero turns. Is when these are out, the brakes are on. So as soon as they're out, brakes are on. Moving on to the deck. Before we showed you, It's got a deck which you can actually take off the plate, and you can just clean underneath there. You can change your belt. The belts are very, very easy to change. No tools required. And I love the idea to be able to get to the deck without jacking it up. You can actually do it from the pan. Instrument panel. Got the engaged PTO, the blades, off and on switch, the throttle, and choke. You just need a little bit of choke first in the morning, so easy to tube. Nice little compartment to put some little bits and pieces. Same again on the other side, and the cup holder. Love the seat. It's a really high back seat, armrest, quite comfortable. I've used it for quite a few hours and really impressed with the seat cover. A fuel tank. It's based under the seat. Hides quite a few litres. Battery compartment, so everything's quite easy to get at. Fuel tank to fill up. Of course, like all ride-on mowers, there's no fuel gauge. Now, it really ticks me off. I'm going to put one in. I think, how hard would it be to put a fuel gauge in? You know, there's $20,000 mowers you can, fuel gauge. Engine is a Kawasaki Twin. It's a 651, which is a 21.5 horsepower, which is more than enough that I need for, again, easy. Check the oil. I suck the oil out to change. The oil filter is so easy to get to. Got the straightforward filter underneath to check. So everything is quite easy. Plenty of room to get around, and good cooling because it's not locked in. Plenty of air, ventilation, etc. So basically, as far as a machine being sturdy, it's really ticks a lot of boxes. I paid 8,500 Australian dollars for this. Now, it would be 10,200, so I got it nearly a couple of $1,000 off because it was into financial year and it was offered two good reviews. And I'll explain in a minute why I've picked this particular variety. It's not full commercial, it is top end domestic, but it's got all the commercial features about it. For example, this is run by hydros. The hydros are fully serviceable, so you can change the oil and spin off change the filters as well. So we've got a transmission for each wheel because it's a zero turn. As you see under here, to change belts, very easy to do. So as you can see, really impressive. Just one thing with the seats, they've got the spring. Just gives a little bit of cushioning effect. Look, it's not the top end. Let's face it, you're paying $8,500. You're not going to get a seat like you would on a $20,000 or $30,000 ride-on. But by gee, it's comfortable. It really, really is comfortable. The armrests, and I'm quite impressed for being a top end domestic. It's really going to serve its purpose, and for my business, and I'm going to go into it deeply in a minute, is that really going to suit our operation, and I think it'll suit a lot of other operators as well. Now, as I mentioned before, this mower is a top-end domestic. It's mainly designed for 5 acres, up to 5 acres. Now, in all my properties, I'm lucky to acres, my biggest one that I do with my commercials, down to 1,000 square metres. Now, if I went up to the full commercial one, I was going to spend another $5,000 or $6,000, and I really didn't think that was justified. Now, when you're selecting a ride-on mower, there's two ways to go. You can go a good brand that's got good commercial features like the zero turn of the Hustler, but it's top-end domestic, but you're paying a lot less. It will do that weekly mow. If you're only mowing once a week, or small hours, I might do 2 or 3 hours a week on the ride-on. So it's all I need. So I don't need a fully commercial ride-on zero turn. Of course, if you're going to be doing ride-on work every day of the week, you have to buy a full commercial mower, and you have to pay for it. Presumably you're going to get some good dollars out of it, but it's important that you look at that aspect. But there's nothing wrong in buying a good domestic mower, but make sure it's got the commercial features like the transmissions. The transmission is serviceable. The deck is a fabricated deck. what we call Coke tin decks are press decks. They're no good because as soon as you hit something, you either got to bang it out again, or sometimes you have to replace the deck. And for the extra dollars, a fabricated deck is definitely worth it. You know, easy to maintenance. You can do all your own maintenance on these things. It's not that hard. So you don't have to put it in the workshop and spend hundreds of dollars to maintain your ride-on. So again, I selected this because it suits my business. You know, I wouldn't use this if I was mowing every day, rough paddocks, you know, grass up to my neck. I wouldn't do that on a small girl like this. I'd buy a bigger one, but you know, for $8,500, I'm not going to spend double that for the same amount of work it's going to do, and it will see me out. Look, I'm 70. Look, if I go another 5 years, this thing, it will have very small hours on it. Look, the other one, it went 15 years. I could have kept using it, but I thought, well, I'll get the new one and, you know, splash out end of financial year. Saves a bit on tax, so I've done pretty well there. Viewers, I hope you enjoyed the Raptor review, the Hustler Raptor 42-inch. Look, they have a 48-inch in the HD. The next one up is a full commercial one. Of course, the dollars jump up there, and then you can climb up to the full commercials of Hustler. But there's other brands too. Look, just don't, because I'm saying Hustler, that's not saying it's the best one. I like it because I like to stick with my brands. Everything I buy, and if it's done me well over the years, I stick to that same brand. You know, all my Husqvarna gear, I've stuck to it all over the years, and the same with the Hustler. Once I'm on a good thing, I stick to it. I don't like changing. Toyota Workmate utes, I've always had them. It's just that I'm probably a silly old bugger, but I just like sticking to the things that have served me well. Viewers, I hope you enjoyed. Let's see you on the next one, and please like and share, and maybe some comments about how you would approach buying a zero-turn mower. Bye.